Travis looked like he went on a bender. Yoo-hoo. Poor guy. A little tired.
I am tired. I'm tired.
Poor guy. A little tired.
I am tired.
Let's do it. How about this, guys? Let's just do it. We got big bats and we got some hardwood. We're going to mix it together today. We're going to start with a 2-game NBA slate. We're going to then do I believe it's a 10-game Major League Baseball slate. I didn't write it down, so I don't remember. No weather issues, by the way. We'll get to the NBA first. We got Travis over here who was telling us just before we came on, Hoop, that he went out last night and he went GPP Travis, and he rolled the dice and he came home with 3 women at the same time. Good for him. That's why he looks tired. Everybody, give him a round of applause. Travis, how are you?
That's not what happened last night. But yeah, I'm a little tired today, but I'm excited. I'm excited to break this slate down and talk some NBA, talk some baseball. It should be a fun time. Winners win. We got Hoopster here. I mean, it's always good to have a show with Hoop. So excited to hang out with him and talk the slate.
All right, next time I give you a compliment like that, just go with it and say that that's what happened the night before, because you'll get major cred in the chat. What's up, Hoop? How are you, buddy?
What's up? 2 things. First off, I don't know who the hell Travis is. I've never met Travis. I know Mangone. I don't know Travis. And second off, last time I heard of Mangone with a woman, he was complaining about a hickey. So did you get a hickey last night?
No. Oh gosh, yeah.
No hickeys?
No.
Is that Nashville?
No. But I do want to mention one thing real quick. Hoop over here, he says he's never met Mangone. He's never met Travis, okay? Like he hasn't met either person, because I never have met Hoop in person, because Hoop never shows up to anything ever.
That's a good point.
Hoop hasn't met either.
All right, Hoop,
hey, we're good internet friends. We're good internet friends.
Yeah.
We're like best internet friends.
All right. Well,
Mangone is cash. Mangone is the guy that does cash lineups. Travis is the guy that plays GPP and just
that makes sense.
Snaps his finger and women are coming everywhere.
That makes sense, because I only talk to Mangone about cash stuff. So I mean, it's all adding up now. So I don't know Travis.
Are you blushing, Mangone?
No, I'm just laughing.
Right,
it's the chat's killing me. I'm just laughing.
All right, let's do this. A lot of you guys want to get to the baseball. Be patient. We're going to talk NBA for a few minutes. We got 2 big games tonight. Travis, maybe we could start with you on this. Utah at Denver, with Utah up 3-1. My goodness, the Jazz have just owned Denver. What's going on with Denver, Mangone? Have they just thrown in the towel? They look listless. Their rotation's garbage. What the hell is going on with them?
This Denver team, I'm definitely not happy with this Denver team. I bet them to start the series. I thought they'd be better, and they have been really, really bad. We're going to see what they're made of here, right? They're down 3-1. I thought they kind of got robbed a little bit last game. I mean, the free throws was a little ridiculous. It was like 29-8. I kind of think Denver bounces back a little bit here. I'm not a big Mike Malone fan. The reason why is he's a donkey. Yeah, I mean, I'll let Hoop talk about that too. But he took too long to make adjustments, and he finally made adjustments. And he said he liked the lineup he had the last game. And listen, the Nuggets were good. They were in that game. I'm definitely down to ride some Nuggets out tonight. I'm expecting these guys to get some pretty big minutes. You saw the Sixers game, even with 30 seconds left in a game where they were down. Sure, they were kind of in it with like being down 8 or down 6, but they ended up fighting the whole way. And that's something you're going to get here in a 3-1 series, I think, Hoop. So I think this Nugget side is really good. I like Murray. I like Jokic, Paul Millsap, Jeremy Grant, and even Monte Morris. He could get a little bit of run, but those are kind of the core 4 I'm looking at is Murray, Millsap, Grant, and Jokic. What about you, Hoop?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, the question from Holden was in regards to why are the Nuggets in this situation? And it's very simple. I mean, we talk about it year after year. Super talented team. The one issue is Malone is a freaking moron, and he keeps proving that to be true. And we joked about this before the series started. Remember how good Michael Porter Jr. was, before the playoffs started? Just dominating. And we were making jokes like, oh yeah, once playoffs come, he's going to be out of the rotation, blah. 15 minutes and 23 minutes in the last 2 games. Blaming the issues for this team on Michael Porter Jr. He's playing scared. One mistake, he's to the bench. Like, that's intimidating for any young player. Why would you do that to the guy that was, literally their best player before the playoffs started. So I'm going to continue to blame Malone. They've kind of phased out Porter Jr. now, which is ridiculous to me.
They said it was because of his defense.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, and it's so funny that all these guys getting torched by Donovan Mitchell in the series, and it's Michael Porter Jr.'s fault. That makes literally no sense. But it's Malone, and that's what you get. But for DFS, I mean, these other guys, 35 minutes and above for all the other starters. I mean, Monte Morris, Paul Millsap, Jeremy Grant, and then Murray and Jokic. I mean, they're all in play today because you have to assume they continue on with this rotation, which is super, super, super tight. So, in terms of like ranking these guys, obviously Jokic and Murray are a little more expensive, but I think my favorite value is going to be Paul Millsap. 35 minutes last game, it's solid producer if he's going to get those sort of minutes. He had 16, 7, 4, and a couple blocks. So he's probably my favorite on the Denver side.
Hey, Hoops, and you too, Mangone. How do you handle this slate from just a game perspective? Is this GPPs because it's 2 games? Are you still playing cash with 2 games? And it seems to me like if you're playing GPP, everybody that gets minutes has got to be in some type of play, right? So how are you handling this, Mangone?
Yeah, Hoop and I talked about it like last year. Playoffs were kind to us. So I didn't mind the 2 game slates. They ended up working out. It was a good time. So I'm going to keep, playing cash games for this. Just trying to make my one best lineup and trying to figure out what to do. The one thing we didn't talk about too much is what happens if Gary Harris is back? Like, whose minutes could those cut into? Is he going to play a lot of minutes? I mean, listen, he's not going to go out there and just randomly play 40 minutes. But he could cut into like maybe like a Monte Morris, I would assume. I agree with Hoop on like Millsap being one of the better values. So yeah, I think ultimately this Nuggets team, they're going to get minutes, and we want to load up on that side of the ball for sure.
All right, give me the Utah breakdown there, Hoop. You already gave a little bit of it, but how about you? Are you playing any GPP or is this a cash day too?
Yeah, similar situation. Just make my best team and kind of just rolling it out and everything. In terms of the Utah Jazz, probably my least favorite team on this slate of four teams here tonight. It's more of like a price thing. It's more of the value's really not there in any of these guys. Donovan Mitchell is expensive, and I'm kind of prioritizing the stars in this next game. The only other game that we have, the Clippers and the Mavericks. I want to spend a majority of my salary cap on those guys opposed to the guys in this game. So that's going to leave, a lot of these guys off the table for me. Like I'm not going to play Mitchell. I'm not going to play Gobert. Joe Ingles is a guy that it appears we need one more injury. Like he was balling until Conley came back. Conley kind of ruined the fun run of Joe Ingles. The one guy I probably would play would be Mike Conley. And that's just a price thing. Like if he fit into my lineup, I'm not building around him or anything, but if he's the last guy in there, he's the guy I'd feel comfortable rolling out there. But won't have much exposure to the Jazz here at all today.
Mangone, are you going to have much exposure to this game?
Yeah, I'll have exposure to some of it, but I agree with Hoop, right? Like the next game is the one you want to have the most exposure to, in my opinion. There's some good sides on this, right? The Nuggets side I talked about. It's a winner go home game, right? They're definitely gonna have like more minutes, so you should be feeling secure about that. But the Jazz side of the ball, like I really don't love too much there. There's just like too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Like too many guys touching the ball. Conley, Ingles, Mitchell. They're even giving Gobert some run. Jordan Clarkson, and all the prices have gone up a bit. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of not too excited about the Jazz side of the ball. I'm more excited about the next game.
Well, I want to get you all excited, Mangone. All excited, buddy. So let's just do this NBA stuff on the second game, right? This is the game that everybody seems to be excited about from a DFS perspective, and we should be. So, Mangone, let's start with you here. Dallas and the Clippers. We got Doncic is probable. Trey Burke is probable. But the big news here is that Porzingis is out. So how does that affect the rest of the rotation, Travis?
Yeah, so, yes. So Porzingis being out, I mean, that's massive, right? Like a lot of usage go around. Obviously, everyone would be playing Luka, you would assume. Like he just seems like a lock button. You just play him on all your teams. The amount of usage he's going to have is insane. And then from there, it's like, all right, like what am I doing with the value plays? That's really the question. Like I don't hate Tim Hardaway Jr., but I don't know if it's the best use of your salary. That's my one thing. If I land on him as a last piece, I wouldn't mind it, but not a guy I'm prioritizing. Trey Burke, I think, is a really strong value in this game. Max Kleber, probably the best value, I would say. Helps at a tough forward position, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity that Porzingis was going to have. And then Seth Curry, he's another guy at the guard position, I think is a nice little bit of a value. Him and Trey Burke are two that I would definitely be looking at. And on specifically, I would say DraftKings. Boban is in play, but I worry about his minutes too much, right? It's probably more of a tournament play. It's a little risky for my liking, so I prefer the other guys. I'd say Luke is probably my number one play, followed by Maxey, Trey Burke, and then Seth Curry.
All right, we'll get back to your thoughts on the other side of things, but how about you, Hoop? Let's get your thoughts, first of all, on the Dallas side, and then maybe go over to the Clippers side, too, as Beverly's doubtful.
Yeah, so the Dallas side, very similar to the Nuggets in terms of the playing time. You're going to see a very tight rotation with a lot of guys playing 30, 31, up to 35 minutes. And that could even be intensified a little bit if Dorian Finney-Smith is out. He's listed as questionable. I think it's some sort of hip strain. Probably won't get that news until closer to tip, but if he's out, it's an even tighter rotation. Luka's the guy you want to spend up on. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And, this is probably one of the toughest matchups for him against this Clippers team. And he is just absolutely rolling right through them. So, I mean, he's proven to be matchup dependent. He's proven to be, one of the best players in the NBA. Can't imagine fading him on a 2-game slate. Like, your night could be over and you could just get absolutely steamrolled in DFS contests if you fade him. Definitely need him in there. Yeah, and it's not hard to get him. We have a lot of value. Mangone or Travis, as you call him. Touched on Trey Burke. I think he is a very solid value. Maxi Kleber, very solid value. Very cheap, too, Kleber. I think he's probably close to a lock on the slate. And then you get Hardaway Jr., you get Seth Curry. It's just basically mixing and matching these guys all in play. I wouldn't be worried about having too many of them in your lineups. It's just a really good spot. And then on the Clippers side, man, I mean, has there been a worse player in the bubble than Paul, or more disappointing player in the bubble than Paul George? He has been an absolute disaster. I think, if you're playing tournaments, so I think it's a great spot to go back to. I mean, he's got the coach talk. They're saying they need to get him 20+ shots a game. Problem is, like, when you're shooting like 25%, or even less, I mean, he's been really bad. The 20+ shots don't really go a long way, but I'd be willing to go back to him in tournaments. He's really cheap on FanDuel at 7.5K. I think he's in play. Like, he's just too good of a player to continue slumping like this. I think they make an effort to get him going today, and that makes him a really strong tournament play. Kawhi Leonard's a very strong play. Lou Williams is in play. Even Zubac as well, I think, is a guy to consider. He's cheap on DK as well at 4.3K. So just another value play there to add into the mix.
Mangone, what's your thoughts on Paul George today? Obviously, he's just going to be a GPP play, right? Give me the rest of the Clippers rundown.
Yeah, I mean, the price is right, though. That's the only thing. Like, 7.5K is a really nice price tag. So you could consider it in cash games. I just don't know if I'm going to use my money that way. I don't want to say I'm not playing him in cash games. I think he's in the conversation for sure. Just because it's too cheap for him. I get it. He struggled a ton. Totally. It's one of those things where it's hard to go back to the well. And that's why I think in tournaments, it's a great reason to go back to him and play him. So yeah, definitely have to think that Paul George has a ton of upside at his price. Kawhi Leonard is my favorite guy in this game. He would definitely be my top option. I don't know what to do with Lou Williams because the price is definitely getting up there a bit. Like, if you're not going to play Paul George or a Kawhi, like, you could easily play a Lou Williams. I was kind of, after the first game the other day, I was kind of dead. I was like looking at my teams. I was like, man, Tobias Harris just fell and just like basically died on the court. Joel Embiid was doing terrible. And I was trying to find ways to be different. And one thing I thought of was, hey, I had Paul George in my lineup. I should take him out and put in Lou Williams. I ended up doing that. I ended up getting Jamal Murray and stuff. But the point is, the process was correct of saying, hey, Lou Williams instead of Paul George, there's some leverage opportunity there, especially on like a guy like Kawhi Leonard too. So Lou Williams, I wouldn't be playing him with Paul George and Kawhi, right? I would only be playing him kind of by himself and making it like a leverage opportunity. And then like Landry Shamet, maybe you could go to him if you needed a guy, but I don't think that's too necessary. Even Marcus Morris, I'm a little worried about now and with the new situation that they have. So I'm thinking overall, Kawhi Leonard's my number one. Paul George probably my number two. And then I don't know. The rest of the value, I don't really know exactly what to do. I'd say maybe Zubac is my favorite. I maybe even like him over Harrell a bit because you're going to see a bunch of Boban. And with seeing a bunch of Boban, they're not going to put Harrell in. They're going to put Zubac in there, and Zubac can take care of business on him.
All right, that's it for the NBA, guys, unless you got anything else to say. You ready to go to baseball?
Let's do it.
Let's go to baseball.
All right, so we got a big slate tonight. Again, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 or 11 games. I can't count very well. So here's the deal. We are 17 minutes into the show. We got 65 likes. Get to 125, and one of you is winning some swag, some Run Pure Sports swag. I got a message from Big T this morning. He went out and he shipped a whole bunch of stuff, so all of our stuff is on the way. Hoop, you already have the Run Pure gear. Travis already has the Run Pure gear. This is very disappointing. I need to get
on
that
right now.
I like
We're
that.
repping it.
Is it comfy, cozy too? Is it like really comfy?
Yeah,
Oh, he got the good stuff.
Yeah, Big T picked it out. He spares no expense, so it's definitely the good stuff.
That's what I like to hear. I need some. I need a hoodie. That's my favorite. That's my favorite swag.
When Big T went and got the swag, he said to Hoop, you can't play NBA DFS tomorrow. We gotta use all that money for the swag. That's what he did. It's an arm and a leg.
Very true.
Mangone, stick to baseball, buddy. Let's move on. It's baseball time. Pitching. Let's get to this pitching slate. The Biebs. How about Shane Bieber $1,000 more than Garrett Cole on FanDuel? That is fascinating. Giolito to me really stands out. So let's talk about these top three guys. Hoop, will start with you. Bieber, Cole, Giolito. I feel like Bieber's ownership's going to be taken down just because you got Cole, who is $1,000 less. Agree or disagree?
Agree on FanDuel, yeah. I mean, the $1,000 price difference is going to cause people just to go to Garrett Cole, going to leave Bieber lower owned. I mean, Bieber's been phenomenal, and people see the matchup with Minnesota, might be a little scared. I mean, he absolutely mowed them down earlier on in the year, 8 innings, 13 strikeouts. He's just been unhittable. So I think he's on FanDuel, he's a really strong tournament play. On DraftKings, they're priced close enough where I think they kind of split ownership. You really don't have to worry about it. I mean, and they're priced down. I think Mangone kind of talked about it a little bit before someone did, how the pitching pricing on DK, they brought those guys down. So it's very easy to get to them. They're going to have very high ownership, but rightfully so. To me, they're the two clear-cut top options on the slate.
Hey, Mangone, we just talked about FanDuel. Maybe a little thought or two on DraftKings, too. Bieber's just $200 more than Cole. It's 10.8 and then 10.6, and then Giolito's at 9.7. What's your preference there?
Yeah, so let me talk about, I guess I'll talk about all the pitchers above, 9K on DraftKings. So, when I look, I see Bieber at 10.8, and then I see Tyler Chatwood at 9.1. I'm like, okay, I'll just find a way to Bieber. So, I don't want Chatwood. I don't want Julio Urias. I'm just out on those guys. So now it leads me to Luis Castillo, Lucas Giolito, Garrett Cole, and then Shane Bieber. And, it's tough. I understand going to Bieber. I totally get it. He's been lights out. He gets a tough Twins team, though, and I don't think I'm going to end up spending up on him. I think if I'd rather spend up, I'd rather go to Garrett Cole. If you told me one or the other, Bieber or Cole, I think I lean Cole. If you said, hey, Mangone, you're an idiot, it's Bieber over Cole, I wouldn't say, hey, you're an idiot back. I'd be like, I get it. They're both great options. You can go either or. I personally think that going maybe to Lucas Giolito could be interesting. He might be my favorite point per dollar guy, I guess you could say, in this range. And then I would say probably Garrett Cole's number 2. I'd go Bieber 3, and then Luis Castillo 4. I'm not too interested in Castillo. I get Giolito. The one thing I worry about is that Pittsburgh matchup. It's not typically a ton of strikeouts, but the strikeout prop is pretty good. He's at 7.5 strikeouts, which I thought was pretty surprising, and it's a little juiced on the over too. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Lucas Giolito as my favorite pitcher in the top end range if I can get up there. That's just the one issue. I don't know if I can get up there for the way I'm building right now in my tournament teams.
Okay, really good. I like that. So let's move down to that second spot here. Luis Castillo, who just hasn't seemed to be able to get on track. The strikeouts are there, but he's getting beaten up. Tyler Chatwood tonight. I mean, that's a matchup only because he's taken on Detroit. Spencer Turnbull, who he's had command issues his last 2 starts. So that's a little scary too. Then Wainwright against the Royals. You can go down to Woodruff against Cincinnati. Ian Anderson. against the Yankees. I cannot imagine that a kid in his debut is going to be more than 2 or 3% owned. And then Marquez visits Arizona with Colorado. I don't want to get to Paddock yet, Hoop, but what about that next tier of guys?
Yeah, Paddock's one that's going to be popular is SP2. This next tier, I think Woodruff is one I have the most interest in. He has a strikeout upside. I was just trying to pull up his K prop here. Did not. It's 5.5, heavy juice on the over. That's a good number for a guy in his price range. So he's the one that I definitely have the most interest in this range. Like I said, Paddock, we're not getting to him yet, but he's the one that's going to be very popular. But I do like Woodruff. He'd be the pivot, I think, off of a very popular Paddock.
Yep, and his last start, Paddock was on 4 days rest. He's never had success. He's coming back to 5 days rest now. He's going up against the Seattle team. But by the way, I want to just pump up Kyle Lewis real quick. If you've not seen Kyle Lewis play, the Seattle Mariners rookie outfielder, this guy is one of the most exciting players in baseball. So get to know the name, and he's been a pretty good DFS player too this year as well. Hey, I guess he's a player, but not a guy that actually plays DFS. Mangone, that second tier of pitching, man, where are we going?
Yeah, so the second tier of pitching, are you considering Giolito in that tier? Which tier are you talking about? Like below?
I kind of feel like Giolito, to me, he's a top tier guy, right?
Okay.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe below Giolito.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. So the second tier for me is like the guys like Woodruff is in play. I understand what Hoop's saying. He's not. I don't know if he's my favorite. I'm still going back and forth between him and Wainwright. I do think there's some good opportunity here for Wainwright. I'm not a big believer in this KC offense, but I do worry. It's not a bad ballpark for hitting, and it's a little hot out there, so that's my one fear. But I think Wainwright and Woodruff is a decision I'm kind of making which one I like the most. I lean Wainwright, but it's really close. The best one is Paddock, though. I mean, it's Seattle. They swing and miss a ton. If they're going to be swinging and missing, it's going to go bad. If they're going to hit, contact on the ball, they're going to crush the ball because that's just how they are, right? So I get it. If you're a little worried about Paddock chalk, I understand, but I think you can still eat it. I think it's a good play. Shomanai is not a bad pivot off of Paddock if you're a little bit worried. You get him against a Texas team that struggles a ton with strikeouts, and Manaea is a really good pitcher, right? Like he has his like ups and downs though. There's times where he gets destroyed, but he's supposed to be this like elite talent, so he can do this, especially against a really bad team. If I told you Sean Manaea went out there and struck out 11, Holden, you wouldn't say I was crazy. You would say, oh, that's like a high percentage outcome, but it's something that he can do. So he has that kind of upside. So I don't think he's a terrible pivot in tournaments.
I think that's crazy, Mango.
I mean,
absolutely bananas. 11 Ks tonight.
I'm not saying he'll get him tonight, but I'm saying it's in his range of outcomes. He could do it. Like, Travis might roster Manaea. Mangone would not roster Manaea, though. I'm rostering Paddock.
Mangone. You know who's interesting here is Chatwood, Tyler Chatwood, because he's coming off the IL. He's got 23 Ks in 15 innings. I mean, it's only 15 innings, but he's going up against Detroit tonight. So it's obviously an uncomfortable GPP play, but would you play him in GPPs?
Yeah, so I was going to pull up the numbers. So I remember he had some issues going on. He was definitely getting hit a little bit hard. The walk rate was an absolute disaster, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. No, the walk rate was good. What was the issue? Because I remember talking with JT about this a bit.
His back was hurting him, but he hasn't. I think he's only has 4 walks in those 15 innings.
Yeah, no, I know JT called something with it. I remember doing a show with him, and he was like, oh, it's going to go bad for Chatwood here soon, and it did. It's the Tigers, right? So I think you could take a shot at it, but I want to take a shot at 9.1K. Like, that's the issue. I don't think I want to do it at that price. I will say when I was kind of scrolling through and looking at some ownership on some things, I did notice at the top, and I was like, who's going to be a guy just getting no ownership, right? If I wanted to look for some contrarian type of pitcher. And Chatwood, I see him really low. I mean, he's definitely going to be like, sub like 1-2%. It's going to be really, really low on him. So I get it, but I think I'd rather just go to a Wainwright against, again, a Kansas City team that I don't love a ton. They're not a team I fear. They can strike out a ton. They can swing and miss, and they have a good pitcher's ump too. So that's the other thing. They have an extreme pitcher's ump there. So that makes me kind of lean Wainwright more than a guy like a Chatwood.
Hoop. Let me ask you something from a kind of a game theory perspective, because we just got a question or a mention in the chat here. He's like, I just can't go up against the Tigers because I keep getting burned, right? And then I was talking about a bet I'm making today where, and one of the guys goes, I can't go against the Red Sox because I'm getting burned. Like, isn't it all just about the numbers and you don't have to worry about getting burned? Everything's a small sample.
Yeah.
Buy into the getting burned thing. Are you afraid?
I think it's just like human nature. Like when you lose at something, like you feel like you've been wronged. But when you're successful and you do something right, that's just how it's supposed to go, right? So I think it's like just like a human nature type thing where people in their head, if they lose at something, they got screwed or it's someone else's fault. No personal responsibility. I don't think like that, and I know a lot of people do. But it's good if you're a gambler to not have that mentality. If you gamble, don't have the mentality that you got screwed or you got burned or whatever. Just don't think like that.
All right, so let's go down the rest of the pitching here. I just had Mangone talk about Tyler Chatwood, who, again, back strain. He got ripped by the Royals, but he did have 23 Ks in those 15 innings, man. So, before he got hurt, he was looking good. Small sample. Any Johnny Cueto against the Dodgers. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say about that. And then maybe Rich Hill and Kyle Gibson, too. Can you trust Rich Hill to get 4 or 5 innings and 8 Ks tonight?
Just to me?
Yeah.
Hoop. I was talking with you, so I'll just keep it.
Yeah, I mean, this group of pitchers, I don't know. I don't have a ton of interest. Like I like Chaminade. I think he's fine. Paddock, I feel comfortable with. But I always just like to keep my player pool at pitcher pretty condensed, even in tournaments. Like I don't like to spread it all out. So for me, it's like I like Cole, I like Bieber, I like Giolito. I like Woodruff, I like Manet, and I like Paddock, and that's probably the only guys that I play on a 2-pitcher site like DraftKings. Like this next tier of guys, they're just not doing it for me. A guy like Kyle Gibson, he gets to pitch in this nice ballpark, but I mean the team total going up against him is pretty big. It's almost at 5, and he hasn't been great. 2 out of his last 3 starts have been a pretty big disappointment. He's given up at least 4 earned runs, so. Not much for me down in this range, to be honest.
Yeah, and the one last thing I'll mention too here with what Hoop said, Holden, I wanted to mention is look at these pitchers. There's so many. There's so many guys that can have a massive ceiling spot, right? It's not like there's just like 2 guys, then you can just take like a crappy pitcher that like limps his way there and it's not that big of a gap. Like I feel like at least 2 of these guys are going to have a big day. So I feel like you're going to need that ceiling, unless obviously you need like some like crazy amount of bats that can make it happen that are low owned, and then having a crappy pitcher isn't bad. If you get like a guy that's 1% owned that hits like 2 or 3 home runs, then obviously you'll need him over the pitching. But I do think that spending up for the pitching today makes a ton of sense.
Guys, I'm just looking at the bats here, and the first team to get to is the Chicago Cubs, and they're going to be extraordinarily popular. I think especially, with a couple of guys like Kyle Schwarber and probably Ian Happ as well. I would be a little surprised if they were the highest owned. I mean, you got St. Louis on this slate, you got the Dodgers on this slate, you got the White Sox on this slate. Mangone, what are we doing with the Cubs here? How many cash plays do you have?
I mean, I'm not really looking at too many cash game stuff today. I'll say that. You might want to leave out the Hoop. And maybe Travis does the GPP takes it. Because I'm only playing GPPs.
I want the GPP. Fine. Let's do it. Let's go, Travis. What do we got for the Cubs? Yeah, so Hoop's on the cash scores, but if you haven't checked it out, we got core plays over here at Run Pure Sports. Hoop's on the cash stuff today. I get playing the Cubs in cash. They've been a tough roster too in cash, but they're starting to get their bats going a bit, right? They are starting to move it a little, and they get a guy like Spencer Turnbull that I think you can, take some shots against. I don't hate going the Cubs. I get it, but I just think they're going to have too much ownership and people might be riding them like they have been lately. I just don't need to go there. There's enough good offenses where I'm not going to take shots on Cubs. I am curious to hear if Hoop is, though, because I saw that in the projections, right, the Cubs are popping a bit. I'm sure people are going to get exposure to him here and there. And I'm wondering if he's going to go to a different offense or if he's going to, go out there and just keep playing some Cubs. Hoop?
The answer to that question is, I played the Cubs yesterday. Worked out well for the most part. I mean, they got there. I think, what did they score? I ended up scoring like 9 runs. The reason they're in play in cash games is the price tag. So we have quite a few good offenses, but the Cubs are the cheapest, and especially on FanDuel. On FanDuel, I mean, their entire core of this lineup is really cheap. On DK, it's not prohibitive at all. They're the price tag, so I think they're fine plays there. But they'll be really popular on FanDuel in cash games. Just make it easy to get up to playing Cole or even Bieber, or, one of those other top pitchers. So yes, they'll be popular in cash games, and yes, I will most likely be playing them.
All right, guys, thumbs up or thumbs down on Detroit? Do we even talk about them?
I'm out on them. I don't know about you, Hoop.
No.
But
I ain't playing them.
Hoop gave me the thumb down, but
Thumbs down.
he's Travis today, and this is what happens. The ego comes out, the edgy comes out. It's going to be a lot to deal with for the next half hour, however long this takes us. Okay, so we move on from there. Here's a fun one, Minnesota and Cleveland. So we talked about Bieber, and I've told you this every day. It's not the same Minnesota offense as we saw last year. The power the numbers aren't there. I don't want to mess with them against Bieber, although, I mean, as a team, they might have sub 1% ownership, so you could get some leverage there. And then we got Rich Hill. Again, we don't know how long he's going to last. We don't know what he's going to look like. These two teams are going to be very low owned tonight, Travis. So can we get a little edge from this game or no?
I mean, why stack to 7.5 total, right? Like, I get what you might be saying. Like, sure, it's going to be low owned, but I'm out on that. And this Twins lineup, it is a little rough right now. Like, Lamonte Wade, like Marwin Gonzalez, Luis Ariz, and Ryan Jeffries. I mean, that's not the greatest bottom of the order. So that Twin side, I'm definitely staying away from, especially against Bieber. And then the Indian side, too, it's like, yeah, like Rich Hill is there, sure, but I don't know. I'm not too interested in these Twins. I think they're just way better offenses, and I can find other ways to get different. If this was like a 6-game slate and you were telling me it was going to be a 1% offense versus a ton of like 40% offenses or 20%, sure, I could get it, but I don't think this is the right call on the slate.
Okay. Hoop, anything here?
No. I mean, it's I like Bieber, Rich Hill. Yeah, who knows how deep he's going to go, but there's like 6-7 offenses and better spots, and you know that you don't have to be worried about the ownership. I think ownership will be pretty spread out in terms of the offense today, so I just can't imagine playing the Indians here at all.
All right, so here's something interesting. We got some news on the Braves. We're going to talk Braves and Yankees now. Acuna's back. So Acuna's back at the top of the order. That's a big change. I mean, that's huge against Garrett Cole. They've needed his bat. They still don't have Albies back, and I think the offense has taken a real big step back. Now, guys, maybe you've heard something else. I thought that I saw Judge coming back in the lineup today. Now, the lineup's not out for the Yankees, but, you know, just throwing that out there that they said he's on his way back because of the calf strain. So Ian Anderson making his major league debut, not an easy one against the Yankees, and the Braves have to face Garrett Cole. Hoop, let's go to you here on the Yankees side because I don't think the Braves are going to be too popular today.
No, not against Mr. Cole. And then, you know, I don't think the Yankees lineup is out, but I do like them in this spot. The price tags for some of these guys pretty darn friendly on DK. Just pulling it up here. Let's see if Hicks is at the top, he's only 4K. If this Tachman guy's in there, he's 3.6K. I mean, they have a team total over 5. So, you know, on DK, I could definitely see playing a couple of these guys. In terms of ownership, you know, I don't know where they're going to land. Like, I don't think I just think the offense is going to be spread out for the most part today. You have the White Sox team, which I think would be pretty popular because how hot they are. But, you know, they did a good job of getting the pricing up, except Edwin Encarnacion for some reason is under 4K, and he'll be very popular. We'll talk about him when we get there. But, you know, I don't think ownership is going to be crazy high in the Yankees. Good spot on the road here against a rookie pitcher. So I definitely have some interest. And then in terms of cash games, I could definitely see playing a couple of these guys depending on where they land in this lineup here.
Hey, if Judge is back, because they activated him off the IL. How about that? The Braves and Acuna, and now you got the Yankees and Judge. This got even more exciting. But if Judge is in there tonight, any shares?
Tournament one-off. I mean, you got a big price tag. I mean, it's 5.8K on DK. I can't imagine he will be, you know, overly owned at that price tag. So I think if he's in there, he'd make for a good one-off tournament play.
How about you, Mangone? If Judge is in the lineup, are you playing him? What Yankees do you like, and are you thinking about any Braves?
Yeah, no Braves for me. Like, definitely don't be playing them. Unless you're like, hey, like I have all the money in the world, and like Freddie Freeman, because like Garrett Cole always gives up like one home run, right? It always feels like he at least gives up one solo shot. So if you want to take a shot there, but first base is too deep, I don't think you need to go that route. But yeah, I think if you look at the Yankees lineup, it's going to be a good one today. I think this is one you can take a shot on. I kind of like going with the Yankees a bit. I think they're a really good tournament option. They're going to be a little bit lower owned too. They haven't really been hitting the ball well, and you want to get on the Yankees when they're low owned right before the heater, right? And then ride it out. You don't want to jump on when like all the chalk donkeys are on it. So this is a good time, I think, to jump on this Yankees offense. So yeah, Yankees stack is definitely a good one in tournaments. It might not be my, top stack of the day, but if you're building 150 lineups, if you're building 20 lineups, I'd want to get some Yankees exposure, even in like a 3-entry max. It might not be a bad idea to have one 5-man Yankees stack there.
All right. So, by the way, there's a game going on right now, the Angels and the Astros, and it's not going well for the Angels. It's 5-0 already. They just batted around the first, and they got back to the top. I mean, wow, man, the Angels have been really disappointing this year. Okay, Oakland and Texas. My sense is that Oakland bats might be a little bit popular tonight going up against Gibson. So let's talk about this here. And Gibson will have to face quite a few right-handers tonight. So, Hoop, the A's. Predict do you think they'll be popular? I just see a lot of bats here that have nice matchups.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have much ownership. I mean, I think you got the White Sox, you have the Dodgers, you have the Cardinals, we have, the Cubs as well. So I think you have 4 offenses that will definitely have way more ownership than them. Like you said, there's some nice matchups here. Gibson has not been great. They have a pretty decent team total, 4.8. They're on the road. There's guys in this lineup that can definitely do damage. I think they're an interesting low-owned tournament team, if you're MMEing today. I definitely won't have any Rangers. Like I said, I have some interest in Monet, so I won't be on the Rangers. But I think the A's are an interesting low-owned tournament team if you're gonna build some MME lineups tonight.
Yeah, I love 3 through 7 in that lineup. With the matchup and what you got here with the A's. I was looking this up earlier. Their top. I mean, their whole lineup has at least a 35% fly ball rate. They got 3 guys over 50%. They got 2 guys over 44%. It really is amazing how these guys just club the ball in the air. On the other side, Texas, you have to figure out if you like Minaya or not, if you think he's back. And then the other side of the equation is, do you think any Texas Rangers could actually touch the ball and score a run or two? Mangone, GPPs, either side here.
Yeah, so I think that you can make a good case for the A's. Like, they have some White Sox vibes to them, right? Like, if they're hitting the ball well and hard, like, it's going to go out, right? Like, they're very swing or miss. They got some similarities to them. So I don't mind what Hoop said with that A's stack. I think they're in play. I don't like the Texas side of the ball at all, but I think this Athletics up and down. If you look at the lineup, they got Olsen in the 6 hole. Like, that's some power and pop at a first base position. And first base is loaded today, right? Like, there's some good plays there, and people might not go to him. Piscotty, he hit a home run pretty recently there. He's not a bad hitter. Matt Chapman, Robbie Grossman, Marcus Semien, and these prices are expensive too. They're all in like that 5K range. So there's a lot of opportunity here. Definitely think that the A's is a pretty good stack on this slate.
All right, guys, we know that the White Sox are going to be uber popular tonight because they're going up against that gas can, Steven Brault. I mean, Brault has a 15% walk rate, a sub 20% K rate. The guy he's not good. Left-handers are a lot better against him, and this is going to be – and that's interesting too, isn't it? That, it's kind of a reverse splits guy and a lot of right-handers in this lineup. But, gosh, these guys are just mashing, just 1 through 9. You can pick any of these White Sox hitters. It might be fun to stack a bottom of the lineup today, Mangone, if you're playing all GPPs here. I'm not going to bother with Pittsburgh because, let's face it, Giolito should be able to steamroll them, but the White Sox hitters, they're going to be popular, so you might have to differentiate yourself with the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, you can easily do that, right? You can pay up for a James McCann. Listen, like, catcher, it's not an easy position to roster. And a lot of the times people want to punt it, but I do think people will just ignore James McCann because they'll say, oh, he's in the 7 hole. This is something when you're building your lineup out, you're like, I need money. Like, I'm having trouble getting all these White Sox in. If you're having trouble getting them in, if you force in a James McCann, I think that's just going to make you a little unique in a way. Because catcher's a great position to always punt it and get a little different, right? If you make a 5-man stack, you typically don't put your catcher in first. You typically go, I'll put it on that crappy team that I'm doing later that has like a 2.4K catcher, and it helps me get in all the bats. So another guy at the bottom of the lineup, Danny Mendick, like, second base is terrible. It's an absolutely awful position most of the day. Sure, like Colton Wong is there today, who's probably going to be pretty popular for cheaper. But if you just go him, you can be different that way. And like, does anyone want to use their outfield spot on Adam Engel? Like, does anyone want to do that? You could play Luis Robert. You could play Eloy Jimenez. there's ways you can be different with this bottom of the order. I don't care. You can tell me, oh, the White Sox are chalk. They've been winning me money. I'm going to keep going back to the well on them. And some people will say, oh, the White Sox are going to be too popular. Well, you have to make a decision on Jose Abreu or Edwin Encarnacion. And if they're a really popular stack, and let's say you need money, you're just going to find a way to go off of Jose Abreu. And why go off of Jose Abreu? He's like the best hitter right now in baseball over the past week. He's been absolutely on fire. So I'm going to jam in Jose Abreu. I'm going to make sure I play him over Edwin Encarnacion. Hopefully that doesn't burn me too much. And I'm going to load up on White Sox. That's my favorite.
Hot streaks aren't real, Mangone. Hot streaks are not real. It doesn't happen.
That's what I've been told. There's no such thing as a hot streak. But, we'll let the people who believe in hot streaks just keep collecting the money.
I believe in hot streaks. I also believe that there are pitchers that get a lot worse the closer that they get to the ninth inning. And there's been a lot of debate in the analytics community. I've talked to a lot of players. I've talked to a lot of managers. These guys, they all say it. These guys' butts get really tight the closer they get to the ninth inning, which is why it's very tough to find a closer. But the numbers guys don't say that. The numbers guys, hey, you can just – there's a small piece of the pie to me that I'm ignoring the numbers. And that's two things that I'm ignoring on. The hot streak in the back end of the bullpen. Hoop, I just went off on my own tangent here. White Sox, where are we going?
I'm going to make it a trifecta here and agree with you guys. I believe in hot streaks. You see it all the time. Guys and teams go on absolute heaters at the dish. And, I just see no reason to hop off. I mean, why would I come on here and predict that all of a sudden the White Sox are going to go, 5 games in a row and score six total runs? No, they're hitting well right now. They're feeding off each other. I'll be back on them. I don't care about the ownership. I'll find a way to be different, like you guys both talked about. Go to the bottom. I mean, this whole lineup is mashing. Go to the bottom. On DK, Edwin Encarnacion is 3.8K. Abreu's 5K. As hot as Abreu's been, Edwin Encarnacion is going to have higher ownership because that $1,200 goes a long way. So you just make little pivots like that to make yourself a little bit different. On FanDuel, you can play both of them because you have the utility. On DK, it's a little bit different. So I like this White Sox lineup top to bottom. You can get some of those cheapies at the bottom. I agree with a guy like Mendick. No one's going to play Mendick, and he's 2.6K at a second base position. Gets you exposure to this lineup. So definitely be on the White Sox. I like riding hot streaks in baseball. The people that don't think they're real have paid the price the last few slates, and they could again tonight because the White Sox team, they're in a really, really good spot here.
All right, guys, we're 24 short of 125 likes. So hit the like button. Once we get to 125, we will give away some Run Pure swag. Now, Fire Money, you're saying we're having bad takes on teams I think are popular or low owned. Please give me an example. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm pretty accurate as far as the ownership. I could be completely inaccurate, too. Who the hell knows? Cincinnati, Milwaukee is our next game. Luis Castillo. Gosh, I love Luis Castillo's talent. Hasn't really put it together to this point. And then this is not an easy matchup for Cincinnati tonight with Brandon Woodruff, who has just been terrific. He's not walking anybody. He's got a 26% K rate. Lefties and righties have both had major issues with him. I mean, Cincinnati was interesting last night. And then on the Milwaukee side, it seems like there's only 2 guys we can ever play, and that's Yelich and Hira, and maybe Justin Smoke. So, Hoop, let's start with you on this game. What are the options? Because I'm very uncomfortable with these 2 offenses.
Yeah, it's a game we can probably save some time on. I think we all kind of like these pitchers. We have a lot of offenses that we like. There's about 7 or 8 offenses that we've talked about or we're going to talk about that we have interest in. Why pick on good pitchers? So, I mean, this game from an offensive standpoint is a complete fade for me. Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of the show where we just say, hey, we like some other offenses. Let's move on. This is a game I don't want to be touching. I get it. Sure. The Brewers, someone said 2% Yelich in chat. If you've been playing the Brewers and they've been doing well for you, sure. But not for me. I'm out on the Brewers today. Can't play every offense.
All right. Royals with cheese, St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals. Now, this is a team that is going to be very, very popular tonight. There's no doubt about it. They're going up against Matt Harvey. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. If he was named anything else, if he wasn't Matt Harvey, he'd have no shot. He could probably pitch for the Red Sox, but that'd be about it. And we're looking at a team now with the Cardinals. Colton Wong, beautiful. DeYoung had a huge double last night. He's looking okay. Goldschmidt, Mangone. God, the Cardinals are going to be popular. So give me your lowdown there. And is anybody besides for Hunter Dozier in play on the Royals?
Yeah, so like, listen, on the Royals, I'm not really interested in too many guys. I get the Hunter Dozier love because of how well he's hitting it, but other than that, I'm not in on the Royals. The Cardinals side, though, like I love the Cardinals here, and like, yeah, like sure, like the White Sox, the Cardinals. It sounds like it's a lot of chalk that I mean there, but like, man, so Big T talks about this a ton, right? Like, so let's say you build a 5-man Cardinal stack today. All right, let's say you build that out. Just skip Paul Goldschmidt. Okay, how many teams are going to play 5-man Cardinal stacks and go a different guy, and instead go Jose Abreu for $300 more? That's all you got to do. He's one of the hottest hitters in baseball against a lefty, and he crushes lefties, and that's going to make a unique lineup, right? I mean, you can easily do that there. The other thing too, if you look at this Cardinals lineup, is they got guys that are all like the same positions, right? You got Edman, who can play third base. You have DeJong, who's shortstop, as well as Edman. You have Brad Miller, who can also play third base. Like all these guys cut into similar positions, right? So I do think there's ways that you can, find ways to be unique within this lineup. And on top of that, just play an outfielder at the bottom of the order. There's 3 of them, right? There's Fowler, there's Carlson, there's Bader. People aren't just going to go in there and be like, I'm stacking the Cardinals and playing 3 of these guys. I'm not telling you to play 3 of them, but these guys are naturally going to be lower owned than you expect. Like I was talking on the show before with the captain, with Ryan, and he was saying, I played Harrison Bader yesterday and he crushed. And I was like, yeah, I played Harrison Bader too. He's not going to get owned like you think. Harrison Bader is like not going to come in and be like a 25% owned play. It's just not going to happen. It's like in PGA golf, like those 6K guys, they just never get the ownership. So I'm okay with playing Dexter Fowler. I'm okay with playing a Harrison Bader, and that's ways to make my lineup unique. I hate Matt Harvey. I think he's terrible. I always knew from the start. I was like, I don't like this Matt Harvey guy. He doesn't want to be here with us. I saw his stuff declining early. I was like, I'm out on this guy. Wasn't a fan, and I love stacking against him. I've been stacking against him forever. You better believe I don't got many more times to stack against Matt Harvey, Holden, and I'm stacking against him tonight.
Stack, baby. It's one of our guys in the chats. Actually, it's the same guy that called me out, and I don't mind that fire money. It's all good. Yeah, he said the same exact thing. I mean, guy couldn't even pitch in the KBO, right? Like Korea didn't want the guy.
We don't have many more times to do this. Like, I want to take advantage. We don't have many more times. Like, let other people like mess it up. Like, I want to stack against them, for 10 slates in a row, but I don't got many more chances. I'm stacking against him. Yeah, I'll just find different ways to be different.
Like 9 going against Harvey. So breaking news here. Aaron Judge is in the lineup. He's batting second. And again, Acuna's back in that same game, batting leadoff. Hoop. How do we handle this game right here? I thought Mangone actually gave us a great breakdown.
Yeah.
So can you add to it? And maybe you guys can give me a one-off too, because if they're going to be that popular and you want a little piece of that offense, maybe it's just 1 or 2 bats.
Yeah, I mean, Mangone broke it down pretty well. And, the one thing I'll add to it from a cash game perspective is everyone's pretty damn cheap. The most expensive bat in this lineup on DK is Paul Goldschmidt at 4.7K. And then, you got Wong at 3.3K is going to be super, super popular. I mean, it just makes it so easy to get up to that top pitching. Brad Miller batting 4th, 4.1K. Edman batting 2nd, third base and shortstop eligible at 4.3K. You go down to the bottom and they're all under 3K. So, I mean, this is a lineup that you can differentiate yourself very, very easily. It's a strong lineup and a really good matchup, and the price is going to make these guys very popular. In terms of a one-off, I don't know. I mean, Goldschmidt, obviously, when I pick one-offs, I want upside. I mean, I want guys that can hit homers, and I think Goldschmidt would be my guy. But, that's the same answer that most people would give. So maybe I'm the wrong guy for the question.
It's fine. What about you, Mangone? Give me a one-off or 2 from the Cardinals, in case you don't want to stack.
Yeah, so 1 off or 2. So it obviously, again, depends on your lineup. So no secret, I like the White Sox and the Cardinals. So I'm trying to find the right spots to maybe get that 1 off, right? Like I like Tim Anderson a ton. I didn't mention him a ton when I got there, but he always smashes lefties. So it's like, okay, can I play Tommy Edman? He gets difficult. I have to obviously put him at third base and moving guys around. So the 1-offs I'd look at, Brad Miller's a pretty good one in the 4-hole. I worry he can get a little more ownership than you like, but if you're looking for a bottom of the order guy, we're just looking at the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's really Harrison Bader or Dexter Fowler for me. I'm not big on this Dylan Carlson guy. If you need the $100 and want to get him in there, sure. I'll admit, I don't know much about him, but I think it's probably Fowler or Bader for me. But Bader's probably my number 1. He's the guy. If you told me one outfielder I could play on this Cardinals team, that's the way I would do it.
All right, we're going to go to Seattle, San Diego. We already talked about Paddock. What about on the other side with the Padres bats tonight? They're going up against Gonzalez. And Marco Gonzalez is coming off a really nice start against the Dodgers. He's actually, 3 of his last 4 starts, if you go look at DK, he's hit at least 20, right around 26 points. So I wonder what your guys' thoughts is on the Padres tonight, because we've talked about Seattle, and there's really no case to be made for Seattle, right? But what about the other side of things, Hoops?
I mean, we've done a few MLB shows, and anytime they're facing a middle pitcher, mid-tier pitcher to below, like, I'm going to have interest in these guys. Just a ton of upside in this lineup. I'll be on them again tonight. I don't think there's going to be a lot of ownership. It's kind of a later game. I always like looking for stacks I like in the later games because their ownership is always lower. It truly is. So, I'll be on these Padres as a stack, not really cash game plays, but as a tournament stack, definitely. I like Paddock, so I'm going to be definitely off the Mariners. They have a very low team total of about 3. So off the Mariners, but yeah, I like these Padres as a low-owned stack tonight.
Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely an interesting low-owned stack. I'm playing more of like a 1 or 2 lineups today for tournaments. So Padres probably don't make the cut for me, but if I was playing more, I would look to try and get them in there if I could. Again, some decent price tags, right? If you're going to play a guy like Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado, they're costly, but you can find ways to use some of these other guys in the lineup, and they're cheap enough value where I think you can make it all work. So I don't mind it. I think it's in play. I think it's in the conversation. It's not my top stack of the day, but I think it's should be part of your script. I'd say you'd want to get a little bit of Padres.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be really interesting to see too, especially if Paddock is so high owned, or you go into the other side with the Mariners and everybody's saying no. And the only bat that I would even think about in a one-off is Kyle Lewis. And it's not like the matchup is great just because the kid is on fire right now. It's all about talent. I will not have any Kyle Lewis tonight, but just any night you want to play him, I'm completely down with that. Then we have Colorado, Arizona. Okay, here we go. Arizona, guys, tell me, they're going up against Marquez. Marquez has been terrific. He's not walking anybody. He's got a 5.8% walk rate. He's striking out almost 23%. The problem with him is he's getting hit really hard. Hard hit contact is there. So you got Calhoun. You got guys like Marte, Peralta. You got some left-handers in that lineup. And on the other side, it's Colorado going up against the lefty, Alex Young, on the road. Not so pumped about that side, Mangone. But how about that other side there with Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, so Colorado, Arizona, this isn't a game I'm just like too excited about. I get it. Like Alex Young, you lefty, so you look at Arenado, you look at Story. I think they're better like one-offs, or maybe like if you're doing like a 5-2-1 or a 5-3-1, maybe the Rockies are a better secondary stack. I wouldn't be playing the Diamondbacks today. I just don't think it's the right day to play them. But that's really it for me. I mean, it's maybe looking at those like big bats on the Rockies and maybe trying to go home run hunting a little bit with those 2 power righties. But I don't want to mess too much with this game.
What do you think, Hoop? What do you think about that team?
Oh gosh, the freaking Diamondbacks pissed me off last night, so I'm definitely not going back to them. Good time to just go ahead and get off the Diamondbacks. I do have some interest in the Rockies though. Arenado, Story, Hampson. I have interest in those 3. If I'm building like 20 teams, I'm going to have a couple Rocky stacks with specifically those 3, the right-handed bats, and even Matt Kemp. Throw Matt Kemp in there too.
All right, let's do this. Last game on the slate. Dodgers going up against Yanni Cueto. Johnny, have you ever seen the picture of him and his dead horse?
Yes, the dead horse narrative. I remember that. He was all sad about his dead horse. That was amazing.
He's a really interesting dude. Big horse guy. Anyways, he's going up against Sports Power tonight with the Dodgers. My God. It's just like the whole lineup crushes. It's amazing how good these guys are. So they're going up against Johnny Cueto. He's gotten off to a slow start from the analytics numbers. His exit velo is extremely high. His fly ball percentage over 40%. His hard hit percentage about 1 in every 3. It's not looking great for Cueto there. Although I have heard some arguments for the other side. And then San Francisco, Luis Urias, he's back. And Julio Urias is back. Has not really impressed so far this year. And, if you guys watch the show, you know that it seems like everybody at Run Pure has been on the Giants at some point in time. And I'm all over Yastrzemski every night. I'm going to go back to the well tonight. Wilmer Flores has got to be a part of your lineup too. He crushes. Mangone, Travis, my God, I don't think anybody's going to be on the Giants again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to be on the Giants tonight, really. You see your eyes there and you get a little worried. But he doesn't have like the longest leash in the world. Dave Roberts, I feel like, always pulls him. So I don't know what to do with this game exactly. Like Johnny Cueto's another guy. Like he always does the shimmy, right? And like throws some junk and finds a way to get by. So I'm just not so interested in this game. Like I have so many other offenses I like. It's easy just to say, oh, the Dodgers, they're a great offense. You can play them. Like, but I'm not super interested in them today. If you want to take guys as a one-off who are great hitters, like if you wanted to take a Turner or a Bellinger, a Muncy, a Betts, like I would get it, a Seager, sure, but I'm not going to full stack them today, and I'm not going to have too much exposure to them. Not because I don't like them, it's just like I like too many other offenses today. And then the Giants side, if you want to, if you've been playing Wilmer Flores like Big T, if you want to play him against a lefty, sure, I get it, but not for me. That's not my type of play. And Big T would probably be here saying I hate money because of that, but I'm just not on this game. I'm kind of off it.
You hate money. That was a horrible Big T impression. Who?
Oh gosh.
What does he sound? I mean, you guys do an impression of Big T? Can anybody?
I'm the worst at impressions, but it's
at him with that.
I don't want to insult anyone. I was going to say something, but this day and age, you can't really say that sort of thing. So I'm gonna not answer.
Move along. Giants, Dodgers. Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm on the Dodgers. I mean, like I always like these late night teams that have good matchups. Cueto, a lot of fly balls, and if you're a fly ball pitcher, matchup with the Dodgers is not one that you want to partake in. So I'm gonna be on the Dodgers. Bellinger, Muncy, Seager, probably my favorites. Hope the ownership's low. The lineup's still not out, and I always talk about it here. The longer that lineup is not out, the lower the ownership becomes. So I'm on the Dodgers tonight. I can't bring myself to get on any of these Big T guys like Flores and his boy Darren Ruff. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass on the Giants.
You're not going Darren Ruff. Oh, Big T might make it an appearance on this show before the end of the show. One more like. And somebody's getting some swag. It's going to be a while because Big T just got to the FedEx today. But you're going to get some swag with one more like. So just hit the like button. Guys, we have come to the end of the game, so it's time to stack them up. We only have like 4 teams you guys felt comfortable with. So what do we got? The White Sox, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers. Who am I leaving out there, guys? Mangone, White Sox, Cardinals, Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, so Hoop said Cubs. That's more his. I'd say mine are definitely White Sox and Cardinals. It sounds like me and Hoop are all aligned there on that one. But for the other ones, I'd say I like the A's a lot. I think that one makes some sense. But the Yankees too, like that's another one I think is a pretty good one. So yeah, they're definitely my 1 and 2, Cardinals and White Sox. And then these other ones, like I said, A's and Yankees, they have some power, they have some pop, and they're in a pretty good spot.
Who? Who are the 3?
Yeah, the Dodgers, White Sox, and kind of lower ohm one, the Padres. Like the Padres again.
Home runs? Who do you got for home runs tonight? You just want to go back to Wilmer Flores every night. So
yeah, we'll just keep playing. We'll just keep playing Wilmer. I'm gonna go Bellinger. I'm gonna go Arenado, and I gotta find a secret weapon here. The secret weapon is gonna be. Give me Machado.
Manuel Machado. Okay. What do you think there, Mangone? You just want to pick someone going up against Harvey? Just throw out one name. Just throw out 3 names for that game.
I mean, listen, that would make a ton of sense. Just throw out dudes against him. I'm going to give you 4. I want to give you 2 on each side. So on the White Sox side, give me Tim Anderson. He pimps the bat and hits one out. And he does a leadoff one. How's that sound, Holden? He starts the game off with a dong.
There you go.
Get you with 14 to kick things off. And then we'll go Jose Abreu because, I mean, the man just keeps hitting him, right? I have to put him on the list. He's been so good to me. So I hope he carries me across the finish line like he did the one day with like 65 by himself while everyone else had goose eggs next to their names and got me in the cash line. And then we got on the Cardinals side, I'm gonna go back to Mr. Harrison Bader. He's been hitting the ball really well. Like again, like the whole like our hot streaks a thing. Are they not? Like, dude, Harrison Bader, his last 5 games are 5, 4, 21, 23, and 14. Like the dude is hitting the ball well. He's seeing it. I want to be riding Harrison Bader here, so I'm on him. And then we'll go with Mr. Brad Miller. Brad Miller's had some pretty good hard contact rates, so I'll go with him as one. He bangs one out there against Matt Harvey. I'm
just going to go with Hunter Dozier until he hits one again. Every time I do this show, I'm doing Hunter Dozier until he hits one. So that's it. Let's go in there.
He's been doing pretty well, so it's a good call.
He is. I like him. So what do we got here? Oh, 138. Let's see here. Let me scroll through. Has Chadwick Richardson won yet? You guys remember if Chadwick had? By the way, Chadwick Trump, best name in baseball. Chadwick Beauregard. That sounds like a butler. You ever had a Chadwick Beauregard as your butler? You have a butler, Mangone? You seem like a butler guy.
No, I will say Chadwick Trump, he probably hangs out with like Bryson DeChambeau, right? Those two are out like at the country club having a good time.
Nice.
Chadwick Trump and Bryson DeChambeau definitely get after it. They hang out with Travis probably.
And Chadwick Beauregard. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We did our NBA stuff. We did our – oh, you know what I was going to do today for good luck? I've had 2 bad days, so I got to do this, okay? All right. This is the llama corn. It's the lucky llama corn. And I ride the llama corn and I spank it. Tonight, everybody's winning because the llama corn. I'm not even kidding, dude. This thing is good luck. I've used it on the bet show 2 times, and we won both times to stop the streak. So, lucky llama corn helping you guys out tonight.
Let's ship it tonight. Winners win. Winners win. The llama corn's coming out.
Winners do win, and the rest of them are losers. Okay, guys. Hoop, wonderful seeing you again. Good luck tonight.
You as well.
Travis, wonderful seeing you again. Good luck tonight, and good luck to all of our viewers. And Chadwick just hit up what is it? Info at Run Pure Sports or something? What is the is that
info at Run Pure Sports or Big T or Mangone or
or just tell Mangone, just be like Mangone, I won. Don't mess with Big T. He's busy today. He's got too much going on. Enjoy both slates tonight, everybody. We'll catch you later.